LeBron James, who suffered an injury yesterday, has now been diagnosed with a groin strain that would leave him out 1 to 2 weeks. How will the Lakers stay afloat while he's gone? We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
Welcome to the number one place for your daily basketball news and analysis, NBA Central.
What's going on, basketball fans? Welcome to another episode of NBA Central, your number one spot for everything basketball related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at NBA Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So this one just came down from Shams that LeBron James is expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks with a groin strain. Now, the injury went down yesterday. LeBron James did compare it to an earlier injury that he had. He did say that it did not feel as bad as that injury where he did miss some significant time. And so LeBron being out 1 to 2 weeks, is probably the best case scenario for the Lakers in this case. They find themselves right now third in the Western Conference, only behind the Denver Nuggets 1.5 games. And the key thing here is that the Lakers just need to stay afloat to just avoid the play-in. Like, this is a team that when you look at the way that they've played and how they rose up from where they were before the Luka trade to number 2 in the Western Conference, we know that how good this team can be over the course of the regular season. If LeBron James does end up missing that 2-week portion of that injury, I mean, you're looking at him missing 6-7 games, something like that. So, it's not the worst case scenario for LeBron if he's out. For the Lakers, if LeBron ends up missing that full 2 weeks, the key thing is they got Luka. We already know what Luka can do. They just got to win some games in there and stay afloat. The biggest thing and the most important thing is being healthy by the playoffs, right? That's what's the most important thing is for this Los Angeles Lakers team between now and the end of the season. How healthy can they be going into the playoffs, and how real is that defense going to continue to play, right? One thing with the Lakers is that thin front line is a huge concern for them, especially when you look at some of the matchups that they could have as the playoffs go on, and especially if they look at coming out of the West and going into the NBA Finals. But I think either way, this Lakers team, you can make a case for being ahead of schedule, even in the first season with Luka Doncic. What's up, Al? You don't need your gloves. You just need your hoodie. What? Yeah. It's not that cold outside. Yeah. Being a parent, y'all. So it really comes down to how you want that team to be as healthy as possible, right? They have that thin front line. Being against some bruising front courts that they could face in their playoff run has always been a concern for this team. But of course, Mr. LeBron is gonna highlight that a little bit more. But at the end of the day, right, of course, the best case scenario is to suffer no injuries, right? And we all know that. Nothing's going to be perfect. This is some adversity. There's also an opportunity for Luka to keep killing it like he has been as well, after a slow start there with the Lakers as far as the big, performances you're used to seeing from Luka. But Luka Doncic, as a Laker, is averaging 24.7 points per game, right? So he's right up there. He's having great performances, and this is going to be Luka's opportunity to just be Luka Doncic, be a little bit more free. That's great. LeBron get healthy, rest up. That's one of the benefits of trading for a player like Luka Doncic in his prime, is that when LeBron's down, you got a young player that does a lot of the same things as LeBron that's in their prime and is going to be able to help that team stay afloat. The thinness of the roster is going to be the thinness of the roster, right? There's some depth questions with the Lakers that are always going to exist there, whatever. But, they just got to stay afloat. You look at their pending opponents over this time period as well, potentially over the next 2 weeks. So next up on Monday, tomorrow, they got Brooklyn. That's definitely a game they could win. They got Milwaukee on Thursday. That's definitely going to be a tough matchup for them. Denver on Friday. That's going to be a tough matchup. Phoenix on Sunday. Tough matchup. San Antonio the following Monday. Without Wemby, that's still a tough team, well-coached team, but without Wemby, the Lakers can definitely still win that game. Another game against Denver that following Wednesday, that's going to be tough. And then Milwaukee and Chicago to round out the possible 2-week period. So, even if the Lakers lose the majority, over 50% of those games, you look at how the finish to their season. The Lakers have a pretty easy finish. The last 3 games of the season are really easy for them. They do have 2 games against the OKC Thunder in the last week of that season at home and home. But other than that, they got New Orleans Pelicans. We'll see what happens with Zion there. So, the Lakers got some leeway there, right? And ultimately, seeding, as long as you can avoid the play-in, yeah, matchups matter in the playoffs. and you want LeBron healthy. But as long as the key thing is getting a healthy LeBron, getting a healthy Luka on the court together. If you have those two guys healthy, it is what it is when it comes down to that. So it's just the latest round of adversity that the Lakers have to face. They already got probably the biggest luck in the league with even the Luka trade going down, right? So it's not necessarily a thing you're looking at. It is what it is. It's always about the future for the Lakers, right? And I said that before we got interrupted, is that the Lakers are ahead of the schedule, and by that I mean this, right? They haven't really had a time to get the players needed that are going to be best playing with Luka. They try to get Mark Williams in there. That trade they end up vetoing that trade. But what they do this offseason is always going to be the important time. So right now, the Lakers in a lot of ways are kind of playing with house money, right? Nobody's really expecting them necessarily win a title in this first year, first half of the season after trading for Luka Doncic, especially when the roster wasn't really set up to insulate itself for that. So, however far the Lakers go in this playoffs in this offseason, or postseason, I should say, is all icing on the cake. Because the key thing is when the Lakers, now that they have that focus, you got LeBron, you got Luka, right? And you now can go out and get the players that are needed. You're also going to get players that are more than willing to come to the Lakers to help them win a title, maybe even taking a little bit less. If you can get the right guys in here around those two players, that's where you're really starting cooking. The fact that the Lakers have been on the run that they've been on this season, like I said, all that to me is icing on the cake. Because this Luka acquisition is all about building for the future, right? That's all about how now this sustains you and sets you up for the next decade to have a player in their prime, as long as they're able to re-sign Luka. So, don't let this injury to LeBron or anything else that happens make you lose sight of that. This is all the main part of this in this acquisition of Luka Doncic is all about the future. It's about giving the Lakers another superstar for the future. So we'll see. But make no mistake about it. The Lakers are if that defense holds up, the Lakers are an extremely dangerous team the rest of this way, and especially in the playoffs this year. We'll just see what the future does bring for them, man. It's going to be this postseason, not just because of the Lakers, but because of a lot of teams. You look at how the Memphis Grizzlies are playing. You look at the Minnesota Timberwolves really putting together on a 4-game winning streak, right? Golden State, what they've been since adding Jimmy Butler. There's a lot of storylines going into the playoffs just in the Western Conference. I didn't even mention in the Eastern Conference teams that we're shaped up to see a very fun postseason in the NBA this year. And that's, as a basketball fan, is always the most exciting thing. Hey, this is going to be Luka's team in a few years. Let's see how they play without Bron. Exactly, right, Josh? I completely agree with you. Like, you now have an opportunity for Luka to just go out there and be Luka. And like I said, this the rest of this season is all house money, man. It's all house money. You're playing with house money. You get a lot of data. You get a whole half season or third of a season of data with Luka. And now you can go out there and I think when you give Rob Pelinka a singular focus, right, of now going out there, adding shooters and some athletic players, finding you a shot blocking big, right, in this offseason. If you're able to do that, the Laker and the chance that they look at coming into next season as one of the favorites could be very huge, man. It's just about the Lakers going out and getting that guy, man. That's really what it's about. So overall, it is what it is. It sucks that LeBron's going to be down for 1 to 2 weeks. But, the LeBron, and it's interesting that earlier in the season, JJ Redick already brought up a case of like how much you want to play with LeBron, how much you want to rely on that. Now you get an opportunity to see who steps up, right? And how that can get you ready for a playoff run as well. Not just because of Luka, but other players having to step up in that run. A player that's not talked about enough as well is that since they acquired Luka is Austin Reeves, right? Like allowing time for Austin Reeves and Luka to keep working on their chemistry together and things like that. That's going to be huge for this team as well. So, there's a lot of things to look at for with this team. We'll just see how it continues. Roy Hachimura is going to get a lot of opportunity now. Dalton Connect's probably going to get even more run to see how much of a shooter that he can really turn into, right? So, like I said, it's all house money at this point, and we'll just see what the future does hold there, man. But I understand the concern. I wish my franchise was in a place to be concerned about stuff like that, but we're not. We're arguing over stupid stuff. But it is what it is there, man. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see what the future does hold here. As you know, news drops, we drop here at NBA Central. Make sure you guys stay in tune with us. You can follow us at NBA Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, NBA Central Show at gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773 270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything basketball related. And I'll see you guys the next time I feel like making a video. Probably tomorrow.